I want to hit the phones here in a moment at 800-636-1067. We've got breaking wide receiver news. A receiver the exact same age as Terry, who's a multi-time 1,000-yard guy, who had the McLaurin-esque numbers one season ago this past year, the 80-catch, 1,000-yard a year. Courtland Sutton, who's been a Pro Bowler, just got $23 million a year. And while Terry's a better player, more productive, more durable, it does feel like that's a little bit damaging to his quest to do better than DK Metcalf, who's younger and makes $32.5 million. You're talking about a $10 million gap in APY average per year. And I know everyone says, well, the big number is guaranteed money. Yeah, no kidding. But the guaranteed money comes from an AAV when you start to break it all down.
Yeah, it's a great comp. And it should be much easier now, right? Where you go, here's the range. 23 is too low. I think everyone agrees to that. What we've been saying, I'm just making this up. Again, we don't really know. We've got Adam Schefter's gut feel that it's more than DK Metcalf. Like, we're not really sure what the numbers are. To credit to both the parties for not leaking that stuff out. But it's not 23 and it's not 32.5. Somewhere in the middle is where this thing probably should settle. That's a great data point. He's better than Courtland Sutton, and there's no need for us to overpay like Pittsburgh just did for DK Metcalf, who's around as productive as you, but a couple years younger. Like, that seems like a pretty good settling point. So I don't think this is a good moment here from McLaurin and his agent.
We're live in Richmond right now on AM 910, FM 105.1. Let's go to Tyler, who is in the capital of Virginia. What's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Grant? How you doing, buddy?
I'm well, thank you.
Hey, at this point, if I were Terry, I would play out the existing contract and then hit free agency in 2026 and see what you can get. Because if you truly believe that you're worth $33 million, hit free agency when you have all the leverage and see what you can get.
So here's the problem with that. You're right. It's very much a possibility. Number one, he's 1 year older next year. It gets so much harder for him to get what he's looking for with every passing season. The Commanders have already decided, and to some extent the market has already decided in the case of some other guys like Mike Evans or what have you, that at that age as a wide receiver, he can't get paid at 29. How's he going to get paid at 30? I mean, it's a huge difference. He'll be on the precipice of 31 years old a year from now trying to get a deal done. So that's not the number one issue with that philosophy. Number two, what if you get hurt? You go out there and, God willing, none of this happens, all right? But these are the things him and his agent are talking about. These
football,
are the things
dude.
the team's talking about. A serious injury, an Achilles, an ACL, something crazy happens. And now, like, ask Cousins, happened to him in a contract year, essentially. And next thing you know, the Vikings are drafting a quarterback and whatever else is happening. Now, somehow, some way, he still got $100 million from the Falcons, which that's kind of wild to think about.
Yeah.
But what if you get hurt? You can kiss ever getting a huge contract goodbye if you're Terry McLaurin at a position where you absolutely could in a sport where that happens pretty frequently. And then lastly, Danny, what if you get tagged? This notion that you could just go to market next year and get your $60 million guaranteed or whatever, maybe, or you get tagged. Now, there's a lot of worse thing that could happen than getting tagged at 1 year and $30 million. But that is probably your final payday because now you're 31 and you're signing like a 2-year deal for $40 million where only a season is guaranteed. So you're talking about like $50 million in the next couple of years if you get tagged, probably, as opposed to this contract where you can do a lot better than that over the next 3 or 4 years. So from a business standpoint, getting paid now is his shot at really having one more huge bite at the apple.
It's his best one. And again, it's from the team's perspective. Not necessarily I'm advocating for it, but this is me saying, okay, I can think along with you here, where I would go, we're not inclined to go well above the franchise tag for the next season or two, because that's an option for us. We have you this year at around 23. Next year, again, according to what smart people are writing, it's going to be around 28 or 29 for receivers. We would do that, and then you want to go into free agency at age 33? If that's what you want, God bless you on the wide receiver open market. Or you can come sit down and look at what we've got for you here.
The tag is 30 mil, right, next year?
So I've read 28 or 29.
Okay.
So it could be 30.
Maybe I'm rounding up. I think he would sign for $30 million right now.
Do you?
I do. Maybe not right now. Maybe we haven't gotten to the final minute yet that it needs to get to. But I think before the season, he will sign, would sign around $30 million a year, if that's their break glass in case of emergency. what I believe is right now he's asking for 33, 34, something like that. And they're offering 26-ish, 25 change, whatever. And I think in the middle at 30 is probably where this thing should get done. If you're telling me, 27 is reasonable, I agree. 33 is an overpay, but you're willing to do that, I also agree with that. Like a few $1 million here or there before you pay your quarterback, while you have the money to front load a contract, should not be a sticking point and is not worth whatever all of this is, in my opinion, with quite literally the guy that's meant the most to your team over the last 7 years. Let's go to Vince and Accokeek on the Fan. Hey, Vince.
What's up, guys?
Hey, buddy.
So, I'm a numbers guy, but I'm a numbers guy in the real world. I'm clearly not an NFL GM. In my mind, I think the 25 that you guys think the team wants to offer, I think is very doable if we add one word to the contract, which the NFL seems to be totally scared of. It's fully guaranteed. In my mind, I don't see Terry walking away from $25 million a season, fully guaranteed, whether it's 3 years or 4 years. So $75 million fully guaranteed, 4 years, $100 million fully guaranteed.
Well, Vince, the team would never do that.
Right, but so, and this is what I'm very confused on, basically with the cap jumping. But if the thing is, we don't want your number to be AVV at the 30s. That keeps the team well under 30. That gives Terry the money he wants, the years he wants. I don't see how that deal doesn't work. But like I said, I'm a numbers guy in my world. I'm not a GM. I think it's too complicated and it shouldn't be that hard. But that's just my thought process.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, Smoke, you're cooking there.
Yes, we see this in baseball where they have guaranteed contracts. You can get paid more for a couple of years or less over many years to spread it out. Football is very, very different. But the team would not give him 3 years of a fully guaranteed contract because they're going to want to be able to get out of a deal in 2 years, essentially. DK Metcalf's guaranteed number of $60 million is what he and his agent are hunting to do better than. The team probably doesn't want to be anywhere near that because they look at DK Metcalf $60 million in guarantees and they say, yeah, but they guaranteed a guy who has a lot more football ahead of him that money. He's 27, going to be 28 this year. He's 2 full years plus younger than Terry McLaurin. Now, McLaurin's agent, Buddy Baker, would turn around and say, didn't play his first couple years at Ohio State. He was an older rookie. Look at, and I know this is how they're viewing this. They're viewing this as, don't look at guys that got paid at his age. Look at guys that got paid in year 8, 9, and 10. I don't care what Mike Evans made, at 30, whatever.
Uh-huh.
What did he make in his 8th, 9th, and 10th seasons? Go back and find the 8th year of a wide receiver who was a true number one, who put up numbers, because they're going to say Terry's not declining. He didn't show any decline last year. And for them, it's about experience, not age. For the team, it's about age. That's all that, I don't want to say all they care about, but that is what they keep coming back to over and over again.
Uh-huh.
And McLaurin's side is going, experience. Yeah, he's old because he was an old rookie, but he does not have the mileage of those cars. He sat in, there was an old lady that drove him to the grocery store once a week for 4 years.
One of those dream scenarios on the Carfax. Yeah.
There is no odometer problem here. Shane in Virginia. What's up, man?
Listen.
Shane, what's happening?
Hey, sorry, guys. That's my boy. Hey, Commander Danny Grant. Hey,
Buddy.
Even my son's saying this is not good for Terry. And he's 5, right? Look, I think this is Terry's last year in Washington. I really do. There's no way he's going to accept anything. Hell, he's making more than that now, right? So, but do we give him $35, $36 million a year? This is a tough situation for the Commanders, even for the fans.
Let me answer that, because that one's easy. Absolutely not. I'm not paying him 35 or 36
I would agree with
million.
that. Thank you, Grant, for saying that. Yes, I am not paying him $36 million a year at 30 years old, 31 years old, when his contract starts. They start declining. I can get a third-round receiver in the league right now at a great cost. And plus, look, here's the thing. We got to start building up that defense. I keep saying it. You can score a million points a game, but if somebody scores 1,000,001, you get beat every time. The secondary, I agree with you, Grant. The secondary right now is looking pretty damn good. I'm actually shocked in the secondary. I saw them out there a couple of days ago. They're long, they're athletic, and that Amos is going to be dude. I'm telling you, he's going to be a baller.
Yeah, he can play.
Appreciate you, dude.
This is where you would think their coaching should make a big impact. Dan Quinn, long
There's a
time
track record there.
secondary coach with the Legion of Boom and beyond. Joe Witt has done that. Many stops as well. They've got a very, very good coaching staff in that area. Just looking at the numbers, McLaurin has played one fewer game in his career than Courtland Sutton because Sutton's been in the league a little bit longer. McLaurin has 1,000 more yards. And so the productivity is a non-starter. Like,
Right.
Nobody would look at this. I would think Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, anybody else would look at these two and go, well, Sutton made this, so McLaurin shouldn't make more than him. But, man, you just can't tell me that $23 million isn't a kick to the you-know-what for McLaurin and the agent. You're asking, we're told from Schefter today, for more than $33 million a year, and a guy your age at your position who's his team's number one wide receiver just got $23 million a year. I want to know what the guarantees are for that deal, by the way.
I do too. I'd be anxious to see that.
Because the guarantee is the most important number here. AAV is easier to talk about, deal with, and it's also where the guarantee comes from largely, or they go hand in hand essentially. But I would imagine with a guy like Sutton that he would have gotten somewhere around $40 million in guarantees. Close to 2 full years of his deal guaranteed, but maybe not completely. And they could then get out of him in the third year without having to pay a whole lot of money. That's what I would assume. That's very much what Washington would like to do, I'd imagine, with McLaurin because of the fear that he's about to hit a wall based on age. Let's go to Saeed in Upper Marlboro on the Fan. Saeed, we're talking McLaurin after this Sutton deal that could complicate things.
Yeah, and so I had a couple things. The first, and I'll try to be very quick. The first is, so far, Adam Peters and this group in the front office hasn't shown a single instance where information has leaked from them to anybody. They have run a very airtight situation. So I have to believe, because Adam Schefter is talking about what Terry wants, I have to believe that's 100% his opinion. That's not somebody who felt like Schefter was a guy they needed to leak information to. And then the second thing is, why isn't there, if Terry believes, and I know I'm oversimplifying this, but if Terry believes that I'm younger than in terms of my body, I take care of my body, there's nothing to worry about, why can't they then say, all right, fine, we'll sign you to X amount, let's say it's 30 million, 29 million, whatever it is, and we'll build in escalators like we do with all the other people that once they hit 30 years old, and then we will pay you incentives based on playing time, based on how healthy you are, based on your statistics, like they do for a lot of the other 30-year-old players.
Because players and agents don't like it.
I love that. Players don't.
Because because I'm Terry McLaurin, if you're not throwing me the ball in the red zone, I can't hit my touchdown escalator. I don't control it. I want to control my money. I want to control what I can make. Danny gets a lot of money every time he does an appearance. If they don't give him any appearances, doesn't matter very much, does it?
Right.
Well, we'll do this. We'll give you money every time you do this, but then we won't offer you the opportunity to do that. Like, that's great when you put the pen to paper, but that doesn't mean I don't get to dictate how many of those opportunities I get. And so would that be perfect? My mom's always said this. This is how sports should be, like base salary for everyone, and then you hit based on your productivity, you get money. If there were no CBAs, if there were no already negotiated in deals between unions and leagues, you could start over and do that. It would be a meritocracy.
Well, but can you imagine, though, like, a running back between the 20s then gets pulled and some, Gerald Riggs, like goal line vulture, comes in and takes his touchdown, costing the guy like $1 million in incentives? It'd be chaos. Guys would be at each other's throats.
True. Yeah.